If I wanted to get as shredded as possible in the next 8 to 12 weeks, I would probably have to do some things that I normally wouldn't recommend a whole lot. And absolute full disclosure and full disclaimer on this video, some of the things that I'm talking about are things that I would do that might be a little bit more extreme, a little bit more intense to get the hard and fast results that I would be looking for. So it is very important that I say, probably multiple times in this video, these are things that I would do. It doesn't mean you have to. And if you have a cool physician, maybe you should consult with them on some of this stuff too. Just saying, because there's a couple things I'll talk about, like maybe with peptides and things like that as well. But if I wanted to get in absolute shredded condition, maybe for spring break or for summer or something in a few weeks, this is what I do. The first thing from a dietary perspective, what I would do is I would do what I call every other day caloric restriction. Very, very simple. Additionally, if you wanted to go more extreme, you could do what's called alternate day fasting. Now, with every other day caloric restriction, it's basically what is commonly known in the scientific world as, quite literally, intermittent caloric restriction. It's where instead of just reducing calories like overall, you're intermittently doing it. So you're like going a regular baseline amount of calories and then you're one day dropping aggressively. And you do it every other day. So you go like baseline and then drop, baseline and then drop. So what hypothetically it might look like for me is maybe 3,000 calories one day and then aggressively low down to like 1,200 calories the next day. 3,000, 1,200, 3,000, 1,200. This protects me because I don't want to crash my metabolism just because I'm trying to get in great shape for spring break or something, right? It's that would be putting the cart before the horse and I would just damage myself for summer in that case. Now, one of the most important things to note here is you want to manipulate this mainly via your fat intake. So my protein intake would stay really high, or as high as I can get it, like really like probably about a gram per pound of lean body mass. And then that would stay the same even on the days that I'm low calorie, right? So I would manipulate it via fats. My fats and protein would be high on my high calorie day, and then I would drop the fats down, but keep my protein high on the lower calorie day. And I would just alternate days like this for like 8, 12 weeks. And it's pretty amazing what that alone will do. Secondly, I would switch to drinking Yerba Mate tea in the morning. Now, I do this when I'm not trying to get crazy shredded occasionally too, but if I was really trying to get down to like a super lean body fat as fast as possible, Yerba Mate does have evidence of being a little bit better for increased fat oxidation rates. The interesting thing that I've noticed, and other people have commented this too, so it's not just me, but I don't see any scientific literature talking about this, you build a tolerance to Yerba Mate fast. I know some people say it doesn't work like that. No, my experience is Yerba Mate definitely helps me lean out, but I build a tolerance to it quick. I end up feeling like, whoa, I need more and more and more and more. So I preserve it for the periods when I really want to get leaner. Which brings me to number 3, which is a really important one, and that is I consume more caffeine throughout the day, which is not something I'm proud of. But caffeine is great at mobilizing fat. And remember that if you're mobilizing the fat, you have to oxidize it. So the more caffeine you consume, draw a line to that caffeine intake along with your activity. Okay, if you're gonna have more caffeine, don't just do it because you're sitting down and you want more energy because you're calorically deprived. If you consume more caffeine, you should use that energy because you mobilize the fat and then you move. Here's one of the most important things. Sleep is very important. So with caffeine, what I'll do is if I increase caffeine above my normal baseline, I will add in something that is called Rutaecarpine. Not a sponsorship plug, it's a type of compound that you can get on Amazon. Rutaecarpine increases what is called CYP1A2 and CYP2E1 levels. What this does is it clears caffeine out of your system faster. So if you end up having caffeine throughout the course of the day and you need to get it out of your system to be able to sleep good, Rutaecarpine is quite powerful. You can find it on Amazon. Apigenin also works really well, but Rutaecarpine seems to be more potent. It's newer with the evidence, but it works. I sleep like a baby and I can have caffeine up to like 2, 3 p.m., which I normally don't recommend doing. Number 4, I just sound like a supplement junkie here listing all these, but I'm getting them out of the way. 15 to 20 milligrams of Yohimbine. Disclosure, this is what I would do. you need to find your dosage. That's not an extreme dose. Usually you get Yohimbine in 5 milligram doses and you can titrate up or down. Yohimbine does have a stimulant-like effect, but it is an alpha-2 adrenergic agonist, so it binds to the alpha-2 adrenergic receptor. What this means is it actually increases lipolysis. It increases fat mobilization at the site of the cell. It can directly do this. However, if you're not burning it and you're not mobilizing it, doesn't really do you any good. It does have a huge appetite suppressant effect though. So what I would recommend is go 2 days on, 1 day off. 2 days on, 1 day off with Yohimbine. That is what I have found to work quite well. And again, Yohimbine, sometimes people have their comments about it. It can make you feel kind of jumpy. And I'm just being real here. This is stuff you can get on Amazon. So I'm not like saying anything out of the ordinary here. I just want you to be real and please don't use it all the time. Preserve these things for when you really want to use them. Be responsible. The next one is one that I absolutely have to put a disclaimer on. You absolutely should go through a qualified health professional if you're going to talk about any kind of peptides. But what I would do in my personal experience, using BPC 157 and TB 500 peptides that have been given to me by my physician, this helps me recover when I am in a very low calorie state. What I end up really disliking about going low calorie is I am prone to injuries when that happens. And most people are if you've been doing it for a longer period of time. So when you get up to your ripe age like I am, you get to a point where you restrict calories and things start to hurt more and you run the risk of even connective tissue issues. So yes, talk to a physician about that, or I'll link out to videos that I did with some docs talking about BPC 157 and TB 500 so we understand a little bit more about what they are. I don't want to ramble too much during this video about them. Number 6, I would resort back to something that I usually don't like to do, and that is much more of a traditional bodybuilding workout split and cardio. When it comes to body composition, that stuff works. Going in there and just doing a push-pull, legs, that kind of sequence, that works really well. Or even synergistic muscle groups, back, biceps, chest, triceps. Normally, I am a full body split kind of guy with all kinds of things mixed in. But when I am trying to just get lean, bodybuilding splits work good. I compartmentalize my resistance training from my cardio and I don't mix them nearly as much. If I'm just trying to generally stay lean year round, I love doing a Metcon here and there. I love doing kettlebell flows and moving. I love just keeping stuff going and keeping it fresh. But if I want to get lean, cardio ends up becoming a very important thing and it's very direct and very specific, and I really do a lot of zone 2. As a matter of fact, if I'm trying to get crazy shredded, my VO2 max will go down, which is not something I recommend people try to do. It's just because I start doing more zone 2 and start focusing less on my moderate intensity, 5, 6, 7, 8 mile runs where I'm really burning a lot of energy because I'm trying to focus more on burning fat exclusively. So try going back to a simple split and don't overthink things for a little bit. And the next one is, throughout the day, I do quite a few push-ups, quite a few squats, just body weight, and dips. What's important is when you're in a caloric deficit, continually reminding the body that you have muscle on you and that it's relevant. We used to think that if you use that muscle, you're gonna burn it up because you're in a caloric deficit and your body's gonna just waste away and use it. No, it's the opposite. Your body sees that that's relevant to survival and it keeps it on you. I also find that I sip on electrolytes throughout the day. It's things that I just do throughout the day. It curbs my appetite. I also feel like having some sodium in you helps keep your muscles a little bit fuller too, which might make it so maybe you don't feel like you're going flat and feeling like you're losing muscle mass. I put a link down below for a free variety pack. So that link down below for LMNT, those are the electrolytes I use. Free sample variety pack with any purchase from LMNT. So drink lmnt.com/Thomas. Probably the biggest game changer for just keeping your appetite under control throughout the day, by the way. Salt has an effect on what are called NST neurons, which early research, kind of dodgy rodent model stuff, but most people that have experienced it know what I'm talking about. It's like you crave something sweet, you drink something salty or consume something salty, and suddenly your sweet cravings are gone. Kind of interesting how it works. Again, more literature needs to come out before I can say it definitively, but it works for me. So that link down below, drink lmnt.com/Thomas. Trust me, it'll make your fasting days a lot easier too. Number 8 is gonna catch me some heat, but this is a new one that I've added in, and I think when you are already lean-ish, it really works well. Where this doesn't really work is if you have a lot of abdominal fat. But there was an epic physiology report study published in 2023 that my friend Jeremy Ethier, a YouTuber, did a brilliant review on. And it shows that spot reduction actually is possible when you look at how this really should be done. So previous literature, spot reduction is where you lose fat in a specific area. If you're trying to get shredded for spring break, for summer, you probably want your abs popping a little bit. You want some veins in your abs maybe. You want to be lean, right? You're trying to get as shredded as possible. So the problem is that most of the studies just show people like doing a bunch of crunches and stuff like that. They didn't combine cardio with it. So you need to mobilize fats and oxidize. So the cardio serves as the oxidation. The sit-ups in this case would serve as the mobilization because you're mobilizing fats from a specific area and oxidizing them in a specific area. So what this study found is that when subjects did either straight cardio and burned X amount of calories or did cardio plus abs for the exact same amount of calories, the cardio and abs group lost significantly more fat around their abdominal region. It actually did work. So spot reduction, site reduction is possibly possible. Now, it's one study, and I haven't seen it replicated yet, but I haven't seen any papers even trying to replicate it yet. And it's been vetted to be a decent study. And I think what it comes down to is the leaner and more fit you are, this is probably more possible. And it probably is less possible if you're more overweight and also less noticeable. So if you're already like 15%, 12% body fat, that very well might work. But you also might just get more blood flow to that area, the abs, and it might look more volumized and get more capillary density there anyway, which is good. Number 9, I would alternate fasted workouts with protein shakes before workouts with water. Super lean, just getting some quick protein in. So some days I'll do fasted workouts. Some days to preserve muscle a little bit more, I will do a protein shake mixed with water. And to kind of dovetail this into the next little piece, I would also consume more protein powder than I would be proud of. That's just what I do when I get shredded. I really do rely on more protein powder because it is a quick and easy source of protein that is very low calorie and low fat. Like, there's just nothing to it, it's just protein. So yeah, I rely on it more than I would otherwise. And I'm not super proud of it because it is hyper processed, but getting crazy shredded isn't like a wholesome, super healthy thing to do, being very real. I would also add more collagen in with my protein shakes because whey protein is going to help muscle protein synthesis. Collagen protein probably helps connective tissue protein synthesis, and combining them together could be synergistic. Number 10, I would have 1,000 milligrams of tryptophan and 400 milligrams of theanine before bed. When you're hopped up and your adrenaline is pumping because you're in a caloric deficit, these things help you sleep. Just trust me on it. And magnesium glycinate helps a lot too. But the tryptophan and the theanine in those dosages, for me, game changer. Number 11, if you're aggressive enough, and this is extreme, and those that have watched my channel, you've seen this, protein sparing modified fasting for 1 week out of those 8 weeks. Okay? You could go longer, but that's what I would probably recommend. Protein sparing modified fasting is just like what you would do on the low calorie day I already mentioned. High protein, very low fat, as close to 0 carbs as you can get. We're talking lean chicken, lean fish, tuna, protein shakes, and veggies. Now, your calories are gonna be low, but your protein's gonna be high. I want you, during this time, it's only a week, to forget about calories, don't even track. Only track your protein. Don't look at the calories. Just get your lean body weight or your body weight, depending on how you weigh, in protein. That's all I care about. Get some micronutrition in, take a multivitamin, do what you gotta do, get some collagen in. We're not going for high fats, we're not going for high carb. This is called protein sparing modified fasting in the scientific literature, also known as rabbit starvation. It works, you will maintain muscle, it works fast, you will probably get shredded, you will probably not feel too good after day 4. But again, this is what I would do, so please, 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 you don't wanna be like me. Number 12, when in doubt, skip dinner. If you feel like you overdid it, skipping dinner is a great route. It's just an easy way to trim the calories back, and it's a good time to do it. You'll probably sleep better. So if I slipped up, that's just usually what I do. I'll be like, whatever, I'll just skip dinner tonight. Number 13, no cheats. No cheat meals. Instead, have a daily 150 to 250 calorie cheat. Trust me, you will mess yourself up more. I mess myself up more when I have a larger cheat meal on the weekends. I end up overdoing way more. I end up eating way more than I would if I consumed 200 calories every day extra. Like I will end up overeating by 2,000 calories. That's way worse than having a little square of a brownie or a couple scoops of like light ice cream from Halo Top. Just do it, have the treat, and just make up for it a little bit elsewhere. Or don't even do that. Just have the treat instead of a cheat. Ditch the cheat day attitude, be a little more flexible during one finite period of time. Finally, I would decrease the amount that I train. What? Yeah, I decrease the amount that I train by about 25 to 30%. I train less when I'm trying to get shredded. I do more with misery via diet. And I train with still intensity, and I might do more cardio, but overall my training volume goes down, but my daily activity goes up. And we've seen this in literature, okay? There was a study where they gave subjects 1,000 extra calories, and they found that 2/3 of the energy expenditure that came from these extra calories ended up going to NEAT versus exercise. More people just burned calories through non-exercise activity thermogenesis. As a matter of fact, the changes in the non-exercise activity thermogenesis accounted for the tenfold difference in fat accumulation or not. So basically, those that had more non-exercise activity thermogenesis had a tenfold difference in how much fat they stored. They stored tenfold less than the people that didn't increase NEAT. Point is you're gonna burn more fat by just moving around. Move around, do the dishes, walk. Training volume should go down so you have more energy to move throughout the day, and I promise you, it's better for getting shredded. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel. See you tomorrow.